Okay, good morning. How was your weekend? Feeling excited? Anyone ever been to Benihana? They cook food, they grill it, they cook it. I think it was this weekend. Anyone been to the Museum of Ice Cream? I've heard of it. Okay, kids there too. Where else? Oh, the auto show. Perfect. You want to go to the auto show? What are you guys doing? Okay. Last week we talked about digital marketing, right? Digital consumer. How things have changed with the revolution of the internet, mass communication. We're all becoming a little bit more homogenous. We tend to take on the same kind of cultural features. How we're concerned about how consumers, how they purchase, when they purchase, what they purchase online. How do we influence them in some way? Right? How could we market to them, optimize, etc. In this chapter, we'll be looking at market research and business intelligence. We'll look at why that's important, the research process. What is business intelligence? How can we use it to be better at what we do, better offerings, and the like. Probably next class I'll discuss and maybe even share the links. We have 3D printing object. For each one of the organizations, you will have a 3D object that kind of represents that organization. I'll send you a few links. You can go on there and kind of choose from different objects. What you'll do, I'll give you some instructions. You can send that information over to the library, the Clune Library, and they will print it out for you. In which case, they'll email you, let you know when it's ready. You can go there as an individual, as a group, however you want to do it. You go pick up that object, and it'll be hopefully part of your next presentation or presentation after that, where you can discuss that object and what it is. Right, think of marketing, we're selling messages, right? We're selling communications. Yeah, we have products, we have services. Most importantly, we're selling ideas, concepts, and messages to individuals. Selling symbols. We need to have good information. As in any way in life, in order to make good decisions, we need to make informed decisions. Decisions that actually have some information to substantiate the thought process, the reason, the why, the how, the where, the who, the what, and the when. And that's where marketing research comes from, and business intelligence. For example, Kellogg's wanted to introduce breakfast cereal to India, right? As an option for breakfast. And so they did a little bit of research, right? They thought that, hey, who would not like the idea of having crispy, hard oats and corn flakes and things of that nature for breakfast with cold milk? Unfortunately, in India, they had a preference for more hot breakfast, even with hot milk, right? So Kellogg's thought that maybe since they had the same category of milk, that it would work, right? Introducing the concept cold milk cereal. Little did they find out that it did not work. Why? Because if you pour hot milk or any hot liquid over those crispy flakes of all the different brands of Kellogg's cereal, it instantly dissolves, becomes mushy, it's rather kind of nasty. it didn't work. So just because you think you have a general idea of pushing the product because you think you understand the consumer, you have to, really kind of interpret the information and set up the right kind of questions to ask in the first place. Really detailed. You also need a neutral standpoint, which means we have natural implicit bias. We think we know it the best way. As Americans, we're like, oh, people over here, they love everything. Not usually the case. We make a whole set of assumptions. So usually we want to come from a neutral point of view, unbiased, and let the consumer answer these questions, so we try to figure them out in some objective way. Tricky. Tricky to try to enter a new market, new product category, or new sort of demographic. So that's what we'll learn here with market research. Anyone here ever done any original research for other classes? You can describe the process of research. Right? Research highly important as you move through academia. Right? Everything kind of counts on research at a certain point, especially like in grad school. If it's not research oriented, it kind of doesn't even count on some degree. Right? So it's good, and we'll kind of go through the process so we can just get the basics out the way. All right, so we'll talk about marketing research and big data, how that all kind of plays into contemporary marketing, sources of marketing information, steps in a successful marketing research plan, right? And some ethical issues as always, right? So we cover the ethics, because there's always usually some unethical practices in each learning module. All right, so we'll define what marketing research is. Explain how marketing information provides an understanding of the customer and the marketplace and the role of big data in MIS, marketing information systems, places where we can hold all this information for our usage. All right, the AMA, which is our big sort of marketing organization, right? It's for those of you who want to major in marketing, you can become a member of the AMA now. You have a student account or student membership, yada, yada, yada. It's important. They send you tons of information, probably help you in some way get a job in marketing. There's lots of resources. You can keep up with all the new trends in marketing, a lot of published research articles, so you can keep up to speed. So valuable resource, right? So the AMA is kind of our foremost leader in terms of keeping everybody centered on the same marketing practices. All right, here the AMA says that marketing research is the function that links consumers, customers, and the public to the marketer through information, right? And research specifies the information required to address issues, design the methods for collecting information, manages and implement the data collection process, analyze results, and communicate the findings. All of this to say in layman's terms, marketing and research involves obtaining information that is valuable to a company or a marketer so that they can make changes, alterations, or creations, right, that will benefit the consumer and ultimately the company. A couple ways we can approach it. We can say, hey, we can look at sort of real consumers. Real consumers are people who actually buy the product. So, hey, how about we survey people who actually buy the stuff, ask them a host of questions so we can get deeper insights into why they buy the stuff. Why do you like it? What do you like about Beats? What do you like about iPads? What do you like about these particular Jordan shoes, right? For those people who buy it, right? But we can get deeper insight, so we say, all right, you know what? People like this, but not necessarily that. Why are we spending so much money on this when people are more interested in that? Let's scale back the budget on this feature, and let's focus more on this feature. This seems to be what people are saying, right? What they currently like about the product, right? What the benefits of it, pros and cons. So we identify some strengths, some weaknesses, some opportunities, and some threats with this slide. Or we could say, hey, you know what? How about we ask idealistic customers, potential customers, right? They don't buy from us yet. We sure would like it. They will buy from us. That's a lot of new money. Maybe we could bring some brand loyalty to them, right? It would make them lifetime customers of what we offer. What kind of questions could we ask them that would be different than what we would ask customers that we already have? Right? How would their research? What kind of information would be valuable? From those types of, and how do we get that information? Right? What means? All right, and then we have marketing information, also known as business intelligence, or competitive intelligence. Right? So it's basically that helps us in a way to identify opportunities in the market, make us competitive, strengths and weaknesses, look at the external environments, opportunities and threats, look at the internal environment as well too. Support decision making from a long-term strategic approach to a smaller issues on a tactical level. Right? Stay competitive and meet the customer's needs. Right? So business intelligence, things that make us better as an organization altogether. Big data. Right? We say, hey, big data is in essence information that we literally have to manage all the time. Right? It should be kept in some sort of database. Right? Some information systems. Usually we call it MIS, Marketing Information Systems, Management Information Systems. Right? Should be housed somewhere, should be able to be extracted when we need it. Big data is often described as using the 3 V's. Value, the amount of data is vast and increasing. Right? What is the value of the data that's supported to us as a company? Velocity, it continues to surge exponentially. Right? The data is constantly increasing and changing. And variety, the diversity of the data is just as unique as it is vast. Right? The different categories of data that we can get, classify them, organize them in a meaningful way for it to make sense to managers, to shareholders, stakeholders as well. And with that, we have marketing information systems, right? Here we say we collect the information, we analyze it, and we report findings, internal and external. So for those of you who wants to be managers, right, or be part of a group, right, and a potential job in the future, what you will be asked to do is to gather and collect some information about a certain problem, a certain issue that needs to be addressed, right? You're going to be asked to analyze that information. It's not as easy as you think, right? Because we say, hey, the meaning is interpretive, it's subjective. You could be talking about a particular culture or group of individuals, and you got to kind of interpret it the way that they think makes sense, not what you think makes sense, right? And then you have to present it. You can present it in tables and charts and pivot tables, pie charts, right? And all sorts of graphs. Something where it's simple easy for the average person to be able to read, extract the information, make sense of it very quickly. Right? So it requires some sort of skills in order to do that. All right, here's our first discussion question. Why is it vital for companies to understand and use customer insights in gathering and managing marketing information? Why is it vital? Beyond that, I want you to think of maybe your own companies that you're working on. Like, why is it vital for your companies that you're working on to understand and use customer insights in gathering and managing marketing information? What will be the benefit there? How so will it be used? All right, so I give you about 3 minutes to talk about this with your groups. Customer insights, marketing, research, business intelligence. next question I think you can add to that is your company doing that? Are they doing it? As far as the knowledge that you have now, are they doing that? And if so, how do they do it? How do they do it? How are they getting any insight? Some other mishaps I could think of is Coca-Cola tried to introduce this product in different parts of China. And so they're thinking of the naming, they kind of want to still keep Coca-Cola for some reason. They didn't want to alter the name based on Cantonese or Mandarin. And so they ended up naming it like Key Coca-Cola or something like that. I think that translated, from Mandarin into like eating the waxy tadpole or something like that, right? And so you think about it, like, hey, the American company thinking it has the answers, it can force its product on a different culture, and it'll work because it's Coca-Cola. But in essence, if you change any of the mental concepts, it changes the entire product. So if you were to walk into the store and bought Coca-Cola in the green can, it most likely will not taste the same as red Coca-Cola can, right? Because you have a mental concept. You already could taste it even before you consume the product. You could taste Coca-Cola before you ingest it, right? Because you've done it so much, you've been conditioned mentally to have this concept of Coca-Cola. So when you change anything about it, it alters the taste, right? And so it really didn't work out for Coca-Cola. I mean, they're still pretty big, but they missed the mark on that particular kind of naming process because it changes the mental concept of the product totally, right? Naming matters. Let me think of another example. A bunch of instant coffee makers have been trying to enter the market in Europe, and they've been having some issues there too, because places like the UK, places, even I think even like Japan as well too, people don't drink coffee like that. It's more of a tea-based society. So how do you introduce roasted coffee, but nonetheless even instant coffee? Instant coffee is where you pour the powder in, put some water, hot water, stir it up, add some milk, things like that. Very difficult, right? You would think it's easy because they're both hot drinks, but there's some challenges there, right? There's some sort of nuances that need to be figured out. I thought I'd just throw that out there while you're talking. Okay, let's see, some thoughts over here.
You said that the customer insights are vital because if you don't listen to your customer at all, they won't engage with their product. And you need to please the customer, because obviously you can get your money from the customer. And some insights also help you identify purchasing patterns that consumers do with your company, which help you sell your products at a higher efficiency. So like whenever I worked at Walgreens, when it was really hot out in the summer, they would put out like hot dog buns and then like grill utensils, and maybe some pop up like just like an ad for hot dogs, and they would specifically do propane tanks. Because like you would get exchanges and like buy propane tanks because saw that they like out, and then they had like the soda can right next to the cash register as well.
Alright, excellent. Okay, what I heard is like, hey, consumers have associations in their brain when they think about particular products. So a good way for us, Walgreens, to market as a strategy is link similar items of a particular category. Category could be the summertime, people are outdoors, people are barbecue. We can entice them with hamburger buns, hot dogs, but obviously you need a grill kit. You need a propane tank if it requires propane. To do that, how do we get you to buy it? Oh, we give you the option too to bring that giant canister back and we give you $5 or something like that, right? And it works, right? So you link things of similar items associated with a particular category of things. Okay, excellent. What about here?
We said like just understanding your customer will allow you to like focus your marketing and other things on a certain audience or in a certain area. And by doing that, they'll allow you to maximize your profits and not wasting dollars on marketing for something that's not be interesting.
All right, so you say streamline the process. You could, the STP, right? You could segment properly with market research. You could target the right people, not the wrong people, waste a ton of money, waste a ton of, maybe even scale back inventory for things that don't matter, right? You could change all sorts of business processes so you could pinpoint the targets. Okay.
Kind of the same thing, like understanding like what the customers want and then, potentially getting more like consumers and everything, if like they see like word of mouth also, like if they get, like more insight on like you selling something and then they can invite more people, so then you can get more customers in general, and also like their feedback, what they wanna see, what they don't wanna see. I think our business is kind of on us a little bit with like the type of food they sell and like what kind of customer service people want and then the type of like seating as well, like what people wanna see, so they can like scan and get more consumers as well.
So you think your company's doing it pretty decent?
Yeah.
job with it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, over here.
I mean, it's like the first step to solving the problem is recognizing exactly what the problem is. And that's why it's like so important. Like, there can be a lot of misconceptions between what you think the customer is versus what it actually is. And I think, like for example, like with social media, sometimes a product will blow up because of like certain videos or whatever, but that's not really reflective of what the actual customer is. It's just like this video blew up and a lot of people are buying this product, but the actual customers are the recurring customers who keep buying specific things. So it's important to keep track of those trends rather than all the other fluff.
Temporary thing. You're like, hey, you can be like, hey, we need to know if something that's just a temporary trend or is it an enduring thing that gonna last. We're more concerned with things that last. But maybe like, hey, if it is a trend, we wanna capitalize on that too, right? A little bit of marketing here, push out some products, it could be seasonal things. It could be some shoes that blew up on TikTok, shop temporarily, right? And then it fades because it was associated with some viral video that went out. But we want to distinguish between what's long term, what's short term, and how do we go about approaching those things within itself. And then the back.
I feel like focusing on customers like availability and like the actions that aren't really said out loud. Like, for example, like, lean more towards, like, in a community service, type company, like, we wanna focus on what they're struggling with more, and maybe find out, like, what time, they're most available for, like, when is it, most effective when you can be open, like, speak your hours, and just like, kind of fundraising towards, what's like the main focus of their concern.
Alright, we like, hey, if it deals with charity, donations, fundraising, you're saying it could be, the problem will be timing of when we sort of present this stuff, right? And how you can get this, use sort of business intelligence or these insights to figure out, hey, what's the right times, place, opportunity to ask people for money, ask people for donations. Then beyond that, you're kind of like, hey, there may be a current trend being talked about that we want to infuse with our new campaign, donation, charity campaign, that kind of pulls on people's heartstrings, right, that people can value. Right? So you can maybe even tie in like things being talked about in the public sphere. Because values change too, right? They swing with the politics, right? We know that new administration come in, whole different set of values. It changes everything talked about on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, right? Old administration leaves, some of the old things go away. Just like the media, there's a constant cycle of influx of new influences, right? Like, hey, trying to shape people's minds to be influenced about values, and the people buy it. Think about it, we buy ideas. We bought into the idea. The idea is so important that you probably feel triggered by it. Right? You probably curse somebody out. Get into a fight. Stop talking to family. Blah, blah, blah. Right? We've also been shared on ideas. It shows how powerful marketing is. That's why probably the most powerful arm of, even if we're talking the market like government, is the media. It's the fourth arm of government. The media makes opinions, ideas, and shape people on what to believe, what to support, what to value. Very effective, right? So we get all sorts of even polling information, which is research, marketing research as well, too, just on the political side. Next, we want to identify sources of marketing information, describe different categories, right? We get things like external data, outside the organization, right? We can do customer service surveys or reviews of the competitor's website, right? We could be in the same business as other companies and we say, hey, you know what, they just lowered their price. We need research so that we can keep up with price. They lowered their price, should we lower ours? Well, if we lower our price, we're not gonna make any money. Like, it doesn't matter, but if we don't lower our price, they're gonna get more people, they're gonna get more attention, more influence. Right, thus we have to make informed decisions like, hey, now there's a new problem. New problem is cheaper price from our competitors. Right, external information. So we could get surveys or even on that. Hey, what do you like the fact that we're affordable? What do you think we're affordable? How would you describe this? I think the luxury. What do you think about a product category of luxury? Why do you think that? And then we get competitive and marketing intelligence. These data sources can include any stakeholder of the business or competitor's business, social media mentions, right? How many likes do we get on the last post? How many hashtags of our company or our product was mentioned? How many reviews, right? Are we viral? Are we streaming in some way? Are we trending on Twitter or TikTok? We can use all of that as vital information to say, hey, you know what? We're beating our competitors because they just released the same kind of ad or campaign or mention that nobody really responded to. Good, right? And if, let's say our competitors are like, whoa, they're really going viral on that thing they talked about, we've got to attach ourselves to that thing. whatever the case may be. I mean, we gotta infuse, inject in the conversation on how they kind of went viral. Like, we gotta tag along on that ride for sure. If not, then, you know, we seem inferior. We seem like we've been dominated by a predator. News articles, right? You can always use that. Hey, think of the concept of, everybody loves being mentioned by some sort of prominent organization. If you're an actor, right, and you win an award, you win an Emmy, a Golden Globe, or an Academy Award, every time after that moment, you will be mentioned as Academy Award winning actor, blah, 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 right? It shows the importance of that. Golden Globe winner, blah, 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 actor, actress, et cetera, et cetera. All right, so even things like news articles or organizations, publications, we can use that as being tagged in somewhere. Journal publications, right? Those are important too. If you're an automobile manufacturer, you want to be mentioned a car driver, J.D. Power and Associates, right? You can put that in the commercials and advertisements, right? And give some sort of credence that you're reliable, that you're acknowledged by the industry itself. Good sort of information that we get. What's needed to be on that list. And then we have internal data and databases, right? Critical information that already exists internal to the company, included, held in the database, collection of related data, includes the following: sales and promotional effectiveness. Hey, we rolled out a new sort of program last week about some item that we're selling. How effective was the sales and promotion? We had that information on hand. Actually, we decreased sales by 5%, so that was an ineffective promotional campaign. Who was responsible for that? It could have been one of us. And now we have the answer for that. It's like, man, that was a really not great idea, that promotion idea came out of us. Right? Ineffective. Pricing, right? We know what we bought the product for, cost of goods sold, right? What do we do about it? Do we change it? Do we alter it? Do we make some changes there? Product launch information. How long has the product been out, right? Think about the iPhones that Apple want to change, like the late September rollout date each year, that they see trends in how consumers buy, and maybe they want to add a phone in between, right? Or they add different products in between that yearly cycle. R&D has a lot of information, right? Our research and development. What are we testing, right? How much is the budget for that? What are we learning as we go along from R&D? And then logistics information, right? Are things coming quicker? Are they coming slower? Do we have new sort of vendors we're working with? What needs to be changed with logistics? Here they give some examples, including the percentage of coupons redeemed, right? So we did a promo with coupons at a grocery store, Whole Foods, Mariano's, Jewel's, right? What was the percentage of those actual available coupons that were redeemed? Right? If it was a success, and we apply that to something else in the future. If it wasn't a success, we gotta go back to the drawing board and figure out why it didn't work the way we thought it would work. Sales values at specific prices, right? The supply demand, right? The equilibrium. We can decrease price. You know, we're like, oh man, if we decrease it by $1, we saw that it skyrocketed our sales, right? Is that the way to go? Or will we lose as much money as we do? Highest grossing motion picture for a production company as an example, right? That kind of tailors to like, hey, you know what? People love, let's say, Lion King, or what's the one I took you to see? Mufasa. right? If Mufasa is a success, you're like, all right, now we know we gotta we have to give money for a new Lion King movie to come after Mufasa. So there's gonna be a trend. We gotta set up all the toys that will be associated. McDonald's will have Happy Meals. Right, this whole distribution, we know that we have to put money towards that, make it work, success. If it fails, we go like, we don't want that writer back, we don't want that director back. That idea didn't really work. We see the consumers are more interested into princess fairies and Moana, right? Or Frozen or something like that. And those would be the type of movies that will start to come out more. You'll see a very similar sort of trend of those type of movies because monetarily they're working, right? The ones that don't work, then we've started to not see those type of films. I would say did anybody watch the Hallmark movies during like Christmas time? No? Yeah, those are kind of consistently always successful movies, but they literally have the same exact plot every single movie. My sister and my niece watch them all the time. Same exact like plot line. Like girl just gets dumped, right? Breaks up with the boyfriend. It's during the winter time. They get snowed in some beautiful cabin somewhere, and there's like some handsome guy that happens to just break up with his girlfriend too. They can't get out of cabin space, but they act like they're friends, but really attracted to. It's the same stuff, right? And everybody lives happily ever after. Like, same exact plot, but it works. So it goes to show you, like, hey, there's something to that plot line. It's universal. Right? All right, and then competitive intelligence is the collection of data from the marketplace that is related to any marketing mix of elements, including 4 Ps, right? Checking prices of competitors' products to make sure a company's pricing is competitive, conducting a promotional audit to verify reach of a company's messages, right? How far did we have to go with that last campaign we had, the last messaging with that promotion? Examine the competitive industry's distribution channels to allow the company to identify new locations. Let me ask you this. So let's say the Japanese have that preference of researching real customers. The Americans, right, or I would say the West have a preference for getting new customers, right? That will put more money and time towards getting new customers as opposed to just asking questions to real customers. Hey, what do you want to improve, right? What do you want better about this product? Right? We prefer to try to get new customers. So let me ask you, what do you think are some questions? Maybe you could talk about this in the group for about 2-3 minutes. What are some questions you can come up with to try to get potentially new customers who have never bought the product, but may be in some sort of category that they could potentially be inclined to buy the product? Right? I want you to think about that. Talk about the bigger group. Come up with at least 2 questions for any product. Just give an example of something that you could think of. There's some questions about how do you get customers who never bought your product to want to buy your product? Right? What kind of questions? I mean, you can relate it to your companies that you're working for, right? We can think of like, hey, how do we get people to come buy our sandwich from the sandwich shop, right? Our hot dogs and our hamburgers. Who's never been here? How would you, what kind of questions you can ask on the survey? Try to get that insight.
anyone who goes to a restaurant will check out like, oh, it's at 5 stars, 4 stars, and check over the reviews. Just like it helps when like let's say a friend says, oh, I went to this restaurant, I like the food, and then you'd be more inclined to try something new if you know that someone you also enjoyed it. So relatability and reviews.
Okay, relatability, right? Finding individuals that have some sort of connection with a potential customer. I'm gonna try to use their positive feedback about an experience, like a restaurant. And use that to maybe ask a potential customer, it's like, hey, what would you like, what do you value in a particular Mexican restaurant? Or something of this like. All right, good. In the back.
So we're thinking towards like the topic of like nutrition. So we're asking like, for example, maybe usually I get on like Instagram about like people who go to the gym a lot. Their programs like what challenges do you face when it comes to your eating or your dieting? They ask what is you like currently holding you back from going to the gym, stuff like that. So I say that's the type of question that they ask.
Yeah, okay, you're talking nutrition, it's like you're talking to people who potentially have goals.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like, hey, what's holding you back from achieving your goal? People might say, oh, this and that, right? And if you're able to sort of provide that feature, a service, or that product, then you know that you potentially have a customer, right? Or if not, you're like, okay, I don't think this person is a potential customer, maybe we should focus on somebody else. Right? Good information. Right there.
So our questions were, do we like sushi and what foods have people not had yet at our restaurant?
Good question. Hey, do you like sushi? If you say no, you're like, okay, that doesn't really disqualify the person because they offer other things other than sushi. Such, other things related products. And what was the second question?
What foods have people not had yet at our restaurant?
What foods have you not had yet at our restaurant? That's an excellent question, right? Because you're like, hey, we have a vast menu and you probably haven't tried this. But maybe someone mentions in that question, they'd be like, hey, I would really like to try such and such item. But I didn't try it because it was like on the second page of the menu or something. Maybe like you can bump that up to the first page if enough people give you that information. You say like, yeah, we want to try it, but we didn't even see it. It's like hidden at the back of the menu. The menu is too confusing or something. That could be the case. Here.
One of the questions that we said was, do our sandwiches stand out from other sandwich places? And another one could be, like, is our restaurant inviting to people? And the first thing is, like, they want to be here, so like, oh, everyone's really here.
Alright. Hey, you're gonna answer two questions. You're like, hey, they're gonna mention another sandwich shop and something about the sandwich shop. They're like, I think you're too pricey to Subway there at the cheapest, right? I like your bread, but I like Subway's meats better, right? I wish you had more veggie options to some degree. I like your sandwiches, but I wish you had veggie options. Right? They probably do, I don't know, just thought it out. And then, second part would be environment. You're like, hey, great place. I don't like the seating. The tables are chipped up, the seats are hard. There's not enough seating here. I like the arrangement. Be nice if you had, some seating where you could look outside and stuff like that. If enough people come back with that information, then you have to take that into consideration. Like, hey, we could probably get more customers in, or even potential customers, if we change the look of how the interior. Right? Put an investment to revamp the interior. It could be necessary. Over here.
For us, we kind of looked at it through like a membership and like training type of thing. Like the questions that we would ask would be like, what kind of training are we like waiting for? Like if you don't provide it, you want to like, certain time for a certain amount of time.
Okay. So say product offerings, like, hey, what are you looking for in a workout program? What do you think about equipment? What do you think about, I don't know if they do like the personal training, personal training, yeah. You can ask all sorts of questions there too. All right, excellent. So it says all very valuable information on whether you're gonna add money to promote something or introduce a product or service or you're not. You're gonna say, hey, you know what? We found that we should do something completely different. But good thing, because then we didn't waste money. We made another decision just based off intuition. Right? We would have wasted a lot of money, they yield no returns, and now we gotta fire people because we can't put people in and scale down the business. It's huge effects. Huge effects. No, marketing is really one of the, I'd say, the most prominent driver of business success. For those of you who want to go into marketing, like, you are really the guru of a successful business, right? And you are given vast amounts of money to try to use this type of information to create new products and services, expand new markets. It's a really critical function. And it sometimes yields awesome results. A lot of times you get commissions and bonuses off this stuff. Imagine if you increase sales by 5% and like, hey, you get 10% promotion based off every percentage point that you help us increase. Yeah, you might have like $100,000 like bonus or something. You know? So, very lucrative if you're good at your job. All right, and here's our last discussion question. Hey, public policies and laws supporting ethics in marketing research have resulted in companies like Meta, right, formerly Facebook, being accused of intruding upon customer privacy, misusing information gathered from users, and exploiting children. As a consumer, how do you feel about companies tracing your digital footprints? As a marketer, what value do you see in tracing consumers' online activities? And you identify any conflicts between the two. You identify any possible solutions. All right, give me a couple minutes to talk about this. Right? Because we say, hey, we want information. Certain parts of the world is not easy to get. But hey, we need information about shampoo. So we want to do a survey and ask a bunch of women in Europe or in Asia, hey, what do you like about your shampoo? Because you may have somebody come ask on the street, and they send a survey. People are immediately like, why do you want my, it's like in a bathroom, I like in a shower. It's too private, I get it. It's just shampoo, right? Like, yes, just shampoo here in the US. It's not just shampoo elsewhere. In the minds and perspectives of those consumers, it might be difficult to ask just that question. Right? Some people may find that it's too private. So you gotta get creative and think about other ways to approach people, even try to figure out what they like or dislike about shampoo. Right? Some people are not, cultures are not even open to certain discussions, so you won't get those wrong answers. So I'll give you a few minutes to talk about these questions within your groups. Can you identify any conflicts and can you identify any possible solutions? That's the big one. Someone in my previous class was talking about the whole Doge thing. No. I constantly see Elon on Twitter post screenshots of, all this money being spent, right? Like Social Security and stuff, people who are 150 years old, paying people, things like that. And then they wanna, people like Elon wanna get more information, because he's only allowed legally to just read this information and can't kind of dive into it. But that, also comes up with the issue of privacy. if you dive too deep, you might be exposing people's personal information, right? Putting it out there in the public for everybody to critique, criticize. But, you know, there's kind of a fine line between public and private information and how is it being used. It can be weaponized against you in some way. You know, your information is being sold to a bunch of third parties. You agreed on it when you signed up for Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Snapchat. That was part of the agreement, the terms of the agreement. Right? For you to be on the platform, you agreed to that. Like, how do you feel about that? How do you feel that your information is sold so that you can be targeted for ads and send out a bunch of emails, stuff that you don't want? You know, is it annoying? Do you like it? Do you get it right? So some things to consider as you talk with your group. Doug, if you don't believe me, go look, like, Google some random product, and I guarantee you, that product will probably start showing up on Facebook when you log in, or Instagram. You're like, oh, man, Google and Meta are who's, yeah, they are. Go on YouTube and search something. If it's anything related to a product or service, it might start showing up even on TikTok.
Have they ever verified if like the phone can actually hear you? You ever like talk to somebody and say something and then 5 minutes?
Yeah, some of the settings on there, right? Unless you change the settings, it can't be picking up background information. It can't use certain information, but it can use keywords. You know, keywords built on top might be Doritos. Right? You might have talked about said Doritos, and then like, that's Doritos show up on my Facebook 15 minutes later. Like, is it just a coincidence? Like, no. Right? But sometimes you have to go into the app settings and make sure, you know, background, stuff like that. But it caches a lot of that information. Like, it stores it for a while. Sometimes you have to delete the apps and reinstall them to kind of get rid of that whole kind of cache of information. So, all right, let's see thoughts. Right here at the front. What are some of your thoughts on this?
As a consumer, it's just a little concerning to me. But I understand, like, if you were a marketer, you wanna know what, the people are consuming and looking at. So you can figure out how to like it, and like, put it out there.
How can we balance those two?
I don't know if you can balance it, like, companies are constantly confusing. I think the only way the consumer is like, you said, like checking your settings to make sure that you do everything to like prevent it from actually
Yeah.
getting your information.
Or maybe giving people the ability to just opt out,
Yeah.
right? But then you're like, if I opt out, man, I would've never saw those new Jordans. They knew that like that, so it's perfect. I want them to know what I like to look for. It's the perfect stuff that I like. You might feel that you kind of FOMO, right?
These are like trade stuff to like an extent.
Maybe it's just only product related.
Yeah.
Like nothing like personal,
Yeah.
right? But then, you know, say the market is huge for everything, probably not a coincidence that if you look up stuff dealing with issues you may have personally, maybe autism, ADHD, personal development, depression, suicide, you might start to see a bunch of mental health things pop up too, right? And algorithms on other platforms. That's interesting too. So yeah, it's definitely expanding, so I think it's kind of just this balancing act. Next group.
You said like as a consumer, it's kind of like invasion of your privacy at times, but also like the flip side where like, kind of how you said like almost like can see things you're interested in because they're almost like taking your information, but as a marketer, like you get to put it out and like kind of push it so then you can get more money and get more consumers. I think like the conflict really is like the invasion of privacy, how much people want to see it and how much like the brands push it. But I feel like a solution, it could be like if you see an ad, you can like either exit out or like almost like have like an option to like, oh, I don't want to see like this brand again, or I don't want to like see different things like this
Gotcha.
again, or I want to see more of this.
Yeah. Okay. So like, hey, thumbs up, thumbs down. Like thumbs up to stuff that I like to see, thumbs down, don't show me stuff like this. What we kind of have in some of the
Yeah.
policies. Over here.
As a consumer, obviously, feel like taking my data on it, so don't get started, but it is pretty beneficial, because you're able to get more like personalized advertisements, so you can find something you actually want and need easier. Like, to an extent, like, not all of your data is, but a lot of it can be useful for companies to kind of like find you and be able to push your product to you more along.
So you're just saying different, just certain types of information. And then think too, like, well, alright, I may not mind a private organization having, but they better not share this with the government, right? You gotta also make too, like, yo, they saw search history, right? Your browser history, whatever, knew that I was making nuclear bombs in the basement, right? I don't want the government to know that's making nuclear bombs. It could be private. Should be shared. Over here.
You said there's not gonna be some kind of like boundary for what they're accessing. I know that there's a whole business like TikTok a while ago, like what kind of information they had access to. So I think there has to be a boundary, but some of it is also beneficial for us and they mentioned, getting products like in front of you quicker and whatnot. But at the same time, it could be kind of crossing a line that, I don't need them to know everything that's on
Yeah.
on my device or whatnot.
Yeah, and think about compulsion. You're like, well, maybe an ethical thing to make everyone compulsive to buying frivolous items, right? Like this TikTok shop make people buy a bunch of stuff they don't need, which makes them lose their expendable income, and now they keep people in a struggle cycle or something. Like it could be a deeper sort of issue where you're forming these habits or compulsions for people. Now it's just a really bad issue, right? Buying frivolous items. In which case, it kind of makes us all kind of guilty of that, right? Where we're just consumer economy.
I think pretty much same thing, said the same thing, like, as a consumer, it's like, invasion of privacy, so like, it's a little bit concerning, but as a marketer, you can see it as like, as a, business advantage, seeing the preferences, seeing, improving their, marketing strategies, and, yeah, but like the conflict between these two perspectives is that many consumers don't see it as a business per se, but as a invasion of privacy, while as, companies like TikTok or others see it as a, as a business benefit, so they exploit that. Any solutions like everybody else said, giving more, control over the data to consumers, stricter regulations, or like you said, they can either opt out of it, but the bad part is that, they're not gonna get their usual preferences as you get.
Alright, excellent. Hey, companies like Meta, you're like, hey, you couldn't create an oligarchy there's just about 8 companies that own mostly all your information. That's not good either. You're like, hey, at what price are you selling my information and to who? And who has the most control? Right, that's probably Google and Facebook. Facebook owns Instagram, WhatsApp, right, Threads, and Facebook. Right, and that's a lot of information. It's like, I don't know if I want that one company to be able to negotiate my information with other parties, right? I don't even know what they're selling it for, right? How valuable is information? And you think with Google, we all use it to search everything. You know, imagine that data being stored from the last 20 years of your life. Like, that's a lot of control for one company. Right? So maybe it has to be some sort of laws in place, some policies in place to kind of mitigate that control from, you know, sort of major companies having that type of access and control of information. Okay, we'll stop off there, and we'll pick this back up on Thursday. Thursday, I'll get more information about the 3D printing, so we could kind of get started on getting that printed out, and we will move on from there. All right, so everyone have a good day, and I'll see you on Thursday. Stay warm.